Osiris.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
We've been firing on all cylinders without you, dude.
Well, we're just telling people how the podcast operates. That's all. Yeah.
The streets are watching.
Did we remember to post everywhere today?
Did we post anywhere?
I'm posting now.
Greg, you still have your wristband on?
Yeah, man. Hoping I get access somewhere. Gives me access to the stream. Yeah, man. Welcome, y'all. Great Beyond folk listeners, people, denizens, constituents. Happy belated 4th of July. For those of you who celebrate.
For those of you
I don't know how much celebrating I did, and just sat on the couch and recovered.
Happy 5th. Yes. Well, that's a celebration and a half right now. I want to give a huge shout out to the Lackawanna State Falcon alumni.
Yo, so there's like, I don't know, this thing with me and birds, but I saw that the Lackawanna College mascot was a falcon, and I told my parents, because I have no money, I need to continue my education. So, this year I'll be attending Lackawanna, rooting for the Falcons, down with University of Scranton, Lackawanna for life.
Lackawanna for life.
Flames, baby.
Lackawanna
vermin.
Lackawanna say like a salamakusa.
The street scuttlers in downtown Scranton.
That's right.
It's something to be reckoned with, I'll tell you that.
Do you guys want to give context on what you're talking about, or just keep making bird rhymes?
Oh, man. They're like underground birds.
They're street scuttlers. They also, falcons is like a nickname for them. They're not real falcons.
Lackawanna. So we're going to let a few people roll in right now. Just got to give a shout out to our alma mater. 4 years education in 3 days. But we are here to talk Peach Fest, Scranton, PA. We had our
Montage Mountain.
Montan. We got a lot to talk about. We've got some special guests here. Andrew O'Brien, the editor-in-chief of Live for Live Music. Also the first ever guest on the Great Beyond podcast. Look at us now. Great episode.
It's even more meaningful now, that episode, in case we haven't listened.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, right.
So Dave Stress is in here. Is this a Goose podcast? Clearly not. It's a Peach podcast. Tamara Satso knows. John Hardy saying too bad about the tech issues. I assume you're talking about us. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's okay. We're getting used to just having them. Yeah.
Bruce is our IT guy. Jess Dubois in the building.
Hence the lanyard around the neck.
Yes.
Have
you left? Have you left yet?
He's still in the dorm?
He's still in the dorm?
I'm actually, I'm studying a very, specific subsect of technology called podcasting. I'm trying to get my major in that. So this is, this is going towards my credits, actually. And also because I'm in an academic review. And if I don't get better than C- in this class, I'm going to be kicked out of Lackawanna. So, we got to do what we got to do here.
Bruce, didn't you transfer your series of B- from UCF?
I did. And the funny thing was that they averaged out somehow to a C+. And I don't really... the math to me doesn't add up. But again, that's why I'm back in school. There's more I need to learn, obviously.
Yeah. Well, we had our chance this weekend.
I blew that chance, though.
Hucked some disc. It was tight. It was tight. I grew dreads for the weekend, cut them off, listened to some Dispatch. It was tight. Too bad they weren't at the fest. I was just listening to my AirPods on the.
Just went through a lot of phases in a very spare few days.
Yeah. So we studied hard, hit the books, now let's talk a little bit about Peach Fest. Just great weekend, front to back. Was wonderful to be back at a big festival. Been a while, it's been a little while. I didn't get out there last year, and most of the festivals I think most of us hit last year were still a little bit COVID-y. So shows and pods, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was able to be mask off and show people what I really look like, for better or worse. Breathe in that fresh Scranton air and take in some tunes. So a lot to discuss. Joey Parisi, as always, was there the whole weekend. Bruce and I rolled in because we drive backwards a little bit late. So we're going to recap, a lot of what we saw this weekend, a lot of what we didn't see this weekend. So got some guests here to do so. And is that the train? Is that train? Did I hear the train?
Yo, the tracks. And those tracks lead right to that mini mart in Scranton that we passed the other day that I thought I was going to have to make a living at when we got trapped on Montage Mountain. But, we'll get to that.
Well, they happen to hire Lackawanna alumni. So we're going to bring in our first guest of this evening. Also the first guest we've ever had. The one and only. And only.
Yeah, I see you didn't study linguistics at Lackawanna.
You're right. Definitely not communications.
Is this our first repeat guest too? Have we had?
Well, technically, we had France Lupin. Classes.
Ben, kind of, but whatever. Outside the bands that this isn't a podcast about, maybe.
Right. Exactly.
Someone in the chat, let us know if we've repeat guests before.
Ryan storms at camp, so we don't know what's true here and what's not.
Still?
So let's introduce the man, the myth, the legend, the editor-in-chief of Live for Live Music, Mr. Andrew O'Brien. Make some noise in the chat.
Yay.
Yeah, he got a link.
Yeah. Hey, fellas, how we doing?
Loading.
Yo, Andrew, sounding as good as us.
Hey,
yeah, you got more guitars than Greg behind you there. Jeez.
Well, he had to show out,
That doesn't warrant a response.
Teach Greg a lesson here. So John Hardy had mentioned technical issues before, and they happened to us.
John Hardy, I don't know. I guess that was some foreshadowing. We like to be consistent here. Tech issues abound. The Great Beyond.
I want to make sure our listeners get what they expect from the Great Beyond, which is technical issues.
So Andrew's here. That is just a look of skepticism towards us because obviously he's back. There you go.
We're back.
Hey.
Sorry, my internet is just not cooperating today. It's still on Montage Mountain.
I hear that.
Understandable. Same. Yeah.
It taketh and it taketh away. So Andrew, welcome to the Great Beyond for the second time.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Maybe the second time. We
We're
maybe have lost them for the second time.
That's it.
We might need to be
Get this.
What? Anyway, let's just critique his room.
Let's talk about Andrew's room while we get
well, I like
that armoire.
Yeah, the armoire stylistically just open a touch.
That's right.
It invites like some curiosity. Does it lead to
Narnia? I wonder what or who is in there.
Maybe another guitar or two.
Probably, yeah. Probably C.S. Lewis, just writing.
Maybe Greg, you could remove him from the stream. Let's see if he starts working in the backstage again, and then bring him back.
First ever guest to be removed from the stream too. We need a little more of this. But we're gonna let Andrew. We're gonna let him. Work it all out. No big deal. Thank you, Andrew, for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Andrew O'Brien.
Sometimes you just gotta blow on the router a little bit.
For sure.
That's what IT. That's what I learned in my IT classes here at Lackawanna College. So.
Nice, yeah, yes. You took IT 101. Turn it off, turn it on.
Turn off, turn on. Yep. And that's where they teach you about blowing into the vents. You can sometimes use a paper clip and stick it into the random vents, and that'll do something sometimes. So there's a bunch of things that I learned there. I'm picking up new things every day. This is why I love learning.
Isn't the final exam just like you have to blow on a Nintendo cartridge?
Final exam is actually they drop you in a random lot on Montage Mountain and expect you to get back to Lackawanna College. And it's kind of like a survival thing, but I'll tell you, it's hard. One of the harder exams I have ever had to prepare for in my life.
Take the information. Take the information
Sarah,
to the highway home.
Sarah said you were supposed to leave that dorm key.
Well, where was the RA when I needed them? I don't know.
Dude, there's some freshman who can't get into his dorm now.
Yes.
Well,
sure.
Look, there's a lot. Like I said, they teach you about challenges at Lackawanna, life challenges as well as actual academic pursuits. So I think that freshman will be better off for it. And I bet you he'll be able to get off Montage Mountain where I failed pretty miserably. So I look forward to seeing how he develops.
Do you remember to grab my Mandy Moore poster?
I do remember to grab it, but it is currently hanging above my bed right now. So I don't know if you're going to be getting that back anytime soon.
All right.
Okay.
We're back. You know what? So all right. Let's do it.
Talking about Peach.
Jess Dubois said, we're great at stalling. We're not stalling. This was all pre-planned. So, ladies and gentlemen, for the third time on the Great Beyond podcast, our first ever third-time guest, Mr. Andrew O'Brien.
That's guaranteed.
Hey. Oh, we got him. There we go.
I need a new room critique too because I had to move. So
okay, all right.
I
so,
like it. Oh my God. I like the design. The VE. I'm assuming. Very nice. And read the book.
I see some posters to your left, to your right, left.
Oh wait, I got this guy.
Oh, there he is.
Oh God,
who's that guy?
Ladies and gentlemen, the
he's not in
member.
Goose. I don't know if you guys know who he is.
Newest member of the Billy Strings touring band.
Newest member of the Billy Strings touring band.
Wow, it's a big violin. And so,
his hair looks
what else? The original Icarus manuscript behind you.
Oh yeah, I believe so. Brought down from the mountain.
Oh yeah,
Foreman himself.
Oh man, dope.
Came from top the mountain. So yeah, definitely a lot of people should.
Have you read it?
Read that book.
I have. I mean, that's a loaded question.
No, you don't have to answer. We're not here to put pressure on our guests like that. So how you doing?
Man, I could have used another day off today. The Monday was nice, but
I think we all agree with that one.
Yes, definitely Blues Day Tuesday here. We could all use a little bit more serotonin. Hey, Sarah, thanks for joining. So let's talk a little bit about Peach, Andrew. Thank you so much for having us do a meet and greet at the Live for Live Music tent. Tent. It was our first ever meet and greet as a podcast. I think we function well digitally, but something to be gained. Every experience is a learning experience here. But we left with, well hydrated, with charged phones and a whole lot of optimism. So front to back, tell us when you got to Peach, and how many Peaches you've been to.
Sure. This one was number 3 for me. We did sort of done something different every year. We did 2019 and ran a bunch of artist interviews backstage in the artist lounge for the screens during the streams. And then last year I went and just covered it straight up, daily recaps. So it was running up and down, catching every set. And then this year, as you guys know, we sort of posted up by the Grove stage. We did a little meet and greet thing, gave away some free stuff, ran some contests, did some artist hangs, which is really cool. And it sort of gave it a different kind of vibe. So I've been 3 times, but it sort of feels like it's been a different thing each of those times, which has been exciting.
Grove stage, formerly known as the Live for Live Music stage, right?
Of course.
Still is.
We had the energy out there, exactly.
Yeah,
not in name, but in spirit.
The meet and greet was fun right by the Grove stage, and kind of for the
It
same
was,
reasons
man.
I think why Goose was so kind of like incredible from that spot was because they got a lot of people just walking through. That's kind of the entrance from the footbridge into the festival, main entrance that a lot of people use. So there's all kinds of people walking back and forth. There's a lot of food in that bar there. So we had a blast. We were chilling with some of the dogs in a pile kids while we were at the meet and greet. You guys, of course, and then just people coming by and hanging out. And I thought that meet and greet idea was a great idea. So how did it tend to go, throughout the weekend with some of the other artists that you had there?
Tell us who you met in Gret.
We met and Gret.
Go like
all right, so I'm gonna rattle off the list here. We had started off with Consider the Source on Thursday. We had Taz and Dylan Niederauer. We had Karina Reichman, Daniel Donato, Dogs in a Pile, Eggy, You Fine Gentlemen Over Here, and then on Sunday, Maggie Rose.
Oh,
so
cool.
We had a really fun group of artists and just cool people. This was like, it was mostly people who we've worked with a bunch, and I had their numbers in my phone, and it was like, we don't want to add something to your schedule. We know you're all busy. Like Maggie on Sunday had like 7 things she was doing and squeezed us in.
Yeah,
Daniel on Friday had like 50 million sets, and he came by for a little while. But I sort of pitched it as like this. I promise this will be the easiest thing you do today. Just come and hang out. People will love it. People will like bumping into you.
Not only
regret.
Yeah.
You have, a meet and greet going on. I mean, it was awesome for us to be sitting there super stoked with smiles on our faces as people walked up and said, "Oh my God, it's Dogs in a Pile." And we were like, we're here too.
Exactly.
But you guys had it going. Perfect shady spot. Had the Blue Point toasted lager flowing, as well as the agua flowing. And like charging
right by the
up
corn
devices.
dogs too.
And yes,
Bruce, the corn glizzies, dude. Oof.
Proximity to the corn dogs was on our rider. We were like, we can't be outside of 100 feet from the nearest corn dog. So they were
proximity clause.
The little radius clause. We need glizzies. Bruce, sorry.
I was just saying. We figured this was what I mean. All right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, you were. All right, I'm the guest. I'm gonna go. It's just I love the Grove stage personally. Like, even before we were posted up there this year, it's always been like, because that's where you get like the good stuff, like the Gooses and like the Eggy or like the late night Consider the Source. It's where you get like the stuff that's sort of off the beaten path. And I've like found many bands I love that way. So it was really cool to just be posted up there. Because even when there were times where like, all right, if I wasn't set to a spot, I'd probably be running up the mountain right now to see something on the Mushroom. But because I'm sitting there, I listen to like, a bit of like JD Simo's set or like Carly Malfa or Dry Reef, all these bands that I didn't know that now I'm like definitely checking out. So there's really no bad moves at that festival, and sort of having your decision made a little bit for you, just being on a track kind of was, liberating in a sense.
Definitely. We should have
JD Simo
absolutely.
was sick.
JD Simo ripped it. He was really good.
Yeah, and given how Montage Mountain is set up, and like you said, there's no real bad moves, but you do have to make decisions because of the mountain.
No bad moves, but hard decisions for sure.
Yeah, you're trying to. It's a lot of distance between some of these things, and it's a bit of an incline depending on which way you're going. So you do sometimes have to make some choices. So I can see how it'd be nice to just be spot there, and and the Grove stage sound is great. From your booth, you could really hear it very well, even though we're a little behind it.
I could also see like right through the uprights on the stage to whoever was playing drums. So I got a real nice view of everyone's drummer throughout the weekend.
That's awesome.
So if you were a drummer on the Grove stage, Live for Live Music was watching.
Live for Live drumming. So tell us a little bit, Bruce, about why you think location is everything. And the access to glizzies was probably to the advantage of Live for Live.
Well, to the advantage of Live for Live through it being to the advantage of me so that I could easily and quickly during the hour we were there go get a glizzy at any point in time, even though I didn't. We were obviously too busy having fun at the booth,
Too glizzy.
But also in the sense that I could get a glizzy easily and get back to that area where it was a lot of fun to chill this weekend. And I don't. How long were you guys set up during the days at the Live for Live music booth? By the way.
We kept it daytime hours, right? Because at the end of the day, we didn't have like a bunch of staff going to do it. It was just like, it was me and my wife and our marketing coordinator, Kelsey. So it was a small but
shout out
mighty
to Mira
that we were
and Kelsey.
Absolutely, dream team. But so we
Yeah.
we went and set it up for the beginning few hours of the day, and then closed it because we also came to Scranton to see music. So we went and saw some music.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of that.
Yeah, let's talk about some of that. I see a couple comments in the chat that I want to definitely acknowledge. One, did anyone check out Little Stranger? I love Little Stranger.
Yeah.
I got there
They're
a little bit
super
too
fun,
late.
man.
But Little Stranger with Charleston act, hip hop mix that gets, it gets a little wild. I love a little bit of Little Stranger. Would have loved to have gotten there in time, but I was driving backwards per usual. Mira also said Melt and Consider the Source on the Grove stage this year were awesome. I haven't seen Consider the Source since Goose played with them, I think back in 2018 at Madison Live in Covington, but I always love a little Phrygian scale.
What did you think about them this year on the Grove, Andrew? Because I didn't get to catch them either. That was Thursday. I think I was in there.
Oof, dude. I mean, blown away. I know I've seen them probably at like Pacific Standard and like small shows in New Haven, and I hadn't seen them on like a big festival stage, which was rad. They're made for it. And I also, props to Peach for that booking. They were up against Billy Strings, and first of all, it's hard to go against a headliner anytime, but that felt like a great pairing because you've got Billy Strings pulling a bunch of people, but then there's also, they're assuming, and I guess it's probably the case, a whole crowd that's just like not into bluegrass, and they get like a kick-ass prog rock show. And so it worked out perfectly. Consider the Source had like a huge crowd.
Nice.
That's and they even, they even did this one little bit where they had done the meet and greet earlier, and they were talking about how, like this is the spot we're in, but it's good for us because of all this and because it's different styles. And then, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to leave the bluegrass, go see some prog rock. Went to see some prog rock. And the first thing they do that I hear them do is like a little dueling banjos bit. And then they go into like a bluegrass song. And, like Consider the Source, he's got that synth guitar. He can make his guitar sound like whatever. So they're like playing bluegrass. As I walked over, I was like, wait, this isn't what I came to. And then went right back into some like grinding, dope prog rock shit. So it was really like all over the place.
Nice.
Interesting, cool, but the kind of show you have to pick your jaw up off the ground from afterward.
Yeah, I love that. Plus they got great sound of that position in a Grove stage. It has good acoustics reflecting off the trees on one side, trees and that little hill on the other, and it goes pretty deep. So I think I could see that being a good spot, especially at night for a band like Consider the Source. And then Mel, that's where I was kind of leaning to when I was asking how long you guys were at the Live for Live music stage, was because the night that Mel played, was that Saturday night that they played at the Grove stage?
Yeah, Saturday going right into Trey.
And Saturday at the main stage at 12 o'clock.
Right, and Saturday at the main stage at 12 o'clock. But we weren't able to catch that show. But I was there with Jess Dubois in the chat, and they blew me away, and they're such a young band, and they're very jazzy and really technical, and they write great songs, but they really kind of, wove things together. It was really kind of cool, dark, had an awesome vibe. The lead singer Veronica has pipes and just absolutely blew me away on this cover of Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. So it was just an excellent show. And I actually called Greg out for our live podcast during the day. So that was pretty cool too.
Yes. I always forget how much like Marlo rips too.
Yeah.
Marlo Shankweiler on guitar, absolutely tremendous. Yeah, and so for those of you who don't know, Melt is a band from New York City. They went viral back in 2017 for their song Sour Candy. I used to say all algorithms lead to Melt. And they were all in high school, seniors in high school. They won a battle of the bands, got some studio time, and then all went to college. And had kind of a slow growth during the college years where they were all writing music, but were in different places. And just about everyone's finished up college in the past year, and they're hitting the road hard. and it seems like the people have been waiting. I mean, they just sold out, I believe it was Bowery or Music Hall of Williamsburg recently, and they're going on a big old fall tour. They had a great publicist do their last EP last year and got a lot of, press.
Who was that?
The People's Publicist. And, so things are looking up for Mel. I'm really happy that they got to make such a big splash at Peach for their first time. And thank you to Mel for coming to talk to us as well, live at the Lodge.
So
we got Webster Hall this year too.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, yeah, are they? That's going to be
Webster Hall. Wow. Okay.
Joey knows their schedule better than their publicist, huh?
They had a publicist do their album last year. I don't know if they have anyone right now. So we got a question from Ben Atkin in the chat. We know that guy?
Who?
Ben Atkin?
Nah.
I know Mike Atkin.
Never heard of him.
I know Mike Atkin. He's a great drummer, Micah. Ben wants to know how the Great Beyond podcast performance went at Peach. Did they play the hits? Well, we certainly did have a little live shindig at the Lodge on Saturday. Talked to, as mentioned, Melt, as well as Ascending New Jersey Quintet, Dogs in a Pile, and Robbie Wolfson from Ripe, who I believe Joey and I were considering maybe just dropping Bruce from the pod and having Robbie join us. But
I'm okay with it now. Yeah, it's just too much at this point.
Yeah. I know you got a lot going on in the library at Lackawanna, but Robbie from Rife joined us, talked a lot about what they've got going on, and Dogs in a Pile. Man, just good to see that youthful exuberance. I remember the days that I was young. And of course, a member of the Great Beyond podcast did throw down a late night Sunday set at the Thunderdome in the campground. That will be filed away in the annals with episode 2. We've got a lot more music to talk about, but we want to bring someone in who was on a real stage multiple times at Peach Festival. This person, not the only Brownstein on stage, but a very dynamic one that plays 6 strings. Fun fact, he also went to the same high school as Andrew O'Brien. And I went to the same regional middle school, which is cool too. But enough about me. So let's welcome, applause in the chat, first time guest, Jake Brownstein of Eggy.
Yay.
What's going on, Jake?
What's up?
Oh, I like how your background's there's some matching going on there. They look coordinated a little bit. At least.
I like that little coordination there.
Oh, very good. Very good from our guests.
Jake Brownstein, welcome to the Great Beyond podcast. I can't believe this is the first time, but we don't have anyone fact checking, so it could be the 10th. But we're so happy to have you here. You guys had a hell of a weekend. We saw some incredible stuff, incredible set at the Mushroom Stage. But I have a hard-hitting question for you first. What was Andrew O'Brien like in high school?
Such a great guy. We've loved Andrew forever. It's so cool being able to connect in this way as well.
Yeah.
And Andrew, what about Jake? What do you have to say about Jake?
Tell us what you said the other day.
Constantly, he was a living nightmare. No, I'm kidding. Jake was awesome. Jake was, I remember the first time, I'm embarrassed right now, Jake. Jake was a couple years younger than me, and I was hanging out at his house with his sister at some sort of party, and I was like all stoked that I had learned how to play the intro to Sweet Child of Mine. I think I was probably like in 7th grade, so Jake, you're probably in like 5th grade, and I showed it to him once, stumbled through it, and he was like this, and just shredded it one go, and I was like, damn it.
Oh, Jake, that's cold. I like that.
Iced him.
We'll rehash these stories on the next episode where we'll do a focused deep dive into this. But I want to talk a little bit about Eggy making a massive splash. So Jake, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, we are not checking facts here. First time for Eggy at Peach?
Second.
See what I mean?
I like it.
Good looks.
We did the Grove stage last year.
Right.
That was actually an excellent set too. That you guys ripped at that Grove stage last year, I do recall.
They let off the festival last year, Greg.
Well, Joey, where you been? Dude, we needed that, 30 seconds ago to 45 seconds ago.
when I needed you the most. So first time, what I meant was first time playing 2 sets at Peach.
Right. Definitely.
Yes.
There you
Awesome.
go. There you go.
So,
Dude, I'm on a huge delay right now.
If we're being technical, we did a VIP set last year, but that was to.
Oh man, Greg batting 1,000 tonight.
Old Ken Griffey of the podcast world.
But
so
it was very, it was awesome getting to play the main stage and the mushroom stage this year. It's crazy.
So, during your mushroom stage set, Bruce and I both had to put our sunglasses on because it was clear that your star is shining bright. And, what we gather is that there were 2 distinct sides of the yoke that were presented at the festival. Am I behind the logo here? Do I need to move?
No.
2 distinct sides of Eggy, all complete with rich harmony and tremendous instrumentation. But one shining point to that mushroom stage set that I saw was Daniel Donato sit-in. Compliments of Mr. Donato. On Mr. Donato since his regards. On Sweet Judy Blue Eyes.
Yep.
Sweet Judy.
Yep.
How did that come to be?
We've been Instagram pen pals for the last few months, and once we knew that we were going to be in the same spot, we hit him up, and Sweet Judy seemed like a nice home base for both of us, and kind of a mesh of sounds there. So
yeah, definitely. When you guys do that whole suite, it's elaborate, a lot of different segments to it. You guys jammed out a couple segments and was absolutely stellar, including some back and forth with you and Mr. Donato. So like, I was actually, I thought immediately, okay, CSNY, a good choice for a sit-in because he must know it. But that's still a big, elaborate song. And one of my favorite songs individually that I heard performed all weekend. And your set was one of my favorite sets. But that was the only time I've been able to see you guys at Peach was on the Mushroom stage this year. So I'm interested in Andrew. How many of their shows did you catch in these last couple of years since you were there both years? And what did you think? What did you think of their performances, and which one was your favorite?
Ooh, like favorite at the Peach or favorite recently? Because
favorite Eggy show. All right, let's go recently.
Here all day.
Let's go recently.
Let's go. I need to stop talking. So
well, all right. That Peach stage was awesome. First of all, like you guys opened the festival on that like Thursday afternoon, which last year, which is like a weird slot. People aren't there yet, and you had it packed out. It was a great thing. People were talking about it all weekend, right? So then to see you open another day this year on the main stage, like you got a big crowd there too. It's like it's really, I don't know. It felt cool for me even seeing you guys like riding that wave that felt like it started at the Peach last year, and so just the continuation of it, and then even further into the late night set. Which, by the way, I loved the fact that they did not just headliners with multiple sets, but you have bands that you can learn about early in the day and then go see them rip it late at night. And which is exactly what they did. I mean, like I tried to take notes on that last set, like I do. I got jot down notes, and I think I got like halfway through like writing the word "Sweet Judy Blue Eyes," and then I just stopped writing. I was like, I'm just gonna watch this thing. It was just so like engulfing. I was like, just every ounce of me was into it. So that was really great. But I mean, even this year, they've had some really awesome shows. Like right after Peach last year, they did this Levitt show. That was amazing. It's on Nugs. Check it out.
Levitt show
really
was a
great show. Yeah. Then they've played like the Cap since then. It was an awesome show. Even the Garcia's show you guys did like between festivals. You had like Summer Camp and Revival and all these, and Peach on the other end. And then just stop at Garcia's for a little club show on like a Wednesday. And that was one of the better shows I've seen this year from any band. So I'm hot on the Eggy train in case it wasn't clear.
I definitely have all the younger bands that I try to see a lot. And I don't even know if I can call you guys, Jake, a younger band per se at this point, because you guys have been a nationally touring act for a while now and you've been playing for over a decade. So, but that Mercury Lounge show, and while we're mentioning some of Eggy's greatest shows, greatest hits of recent memory, the Mercury Lounge show this year was absolutely flames. Still one of the best shows I've seen in the last calendar year, if not longer. But your Peach set was also excellent. And I've talked to you guys about this when I saw you guys open for Spafford and it was only, you know, a 45 minutes, I couldn't believe how fast it was done. But you know, what kind of different approach do you have to take, if any, to a shorter set or like one of these festival slots where you might have to deal with some sound complications that tighten it up, or weather complications which tighten up some sets this year at Peach? You know, so how do you guys approach that?
Well, we're always super ambitious, and usually we'll put more songs on the set than we actually get to. I think like 95% of the set lists people get at the end of the show are wrong. But you know, the only thing I can do is have a clock and make sure that I end on time. But you know, the shows that I spend the whole time checking the clock and making sure that this fits in and this fits in and that we do this and do that. It just, even if it translates well, you know, to the audience, it doesn't have the same flow for us. And so I try and just kind of forget about whether it's 45 minutes or an hour, you know, just try and give the same kind of love to the music that we would in a full 2-3 hour show. And if we don't get to everything, we don't get to everything, and you know, happens. But yeah.
Well, okay, so this is what I think maybe we should do now. We got everybody on here, is let's talk a little bit more for the people out there about some of the best stuff we saw at Peach. I mean, you guys, like Jake, you kind of, you know, you're bopping around trying to play with people and trying to play your own shows. You know, what did you get to see outside of that? What was some of the favorite stuff you got to see?
It was definitely really cool. Had the whole crew together for Tab. My dad was there too. Nice. So we were rocking out, having a good time. But loved checking out Cosmic Country. I know we've been mentioning Donato. It was really cool to check out his band. They definitely have a great chemistry together. And I think he was saying that they only started playing together 6 months ago or something like that.
No.
Celeste was on fire. Loved her sitting with Trey. So cool.
She's incredible.
Yeah, so cool seeing the Goose guys crush that fucking main stage, and you know, seeing the whole crowd there. And Melt was great. So many. I mean, Peach, they just curate such a great eclectic lineup, and I think that they have like a real solid pulse on, you know, what's going on throughout the year, and we definitely feel like we've been saying it all weekend, but they take like a special care, and they want to be a part of the growth of the artists as well. They don't want to just be like, you know, prove yourself and you know, and do all the hard work outside of here. I think that they take like a really special care in being a part of the growth of artists, and you know, seeing One Time Weekend there from Connecticut, and they're constantly bringing out new artists, and it's just awesome to see. It's really, really cool, really special.
That's a good point. And I was on Mushroom Stage a lot this year and really noticed that, how kind of varied each band that I was seeing there was, and yet just how well they were scratching every itch, you know? So Andrew, what about you? As far as the acts you saw this year,
Dogs in a Pile too.
Yeah, Dogs are also.
What Jake said. Dogs in a Pile also fantastic. Rattle off a couple. Snack Time out of Philly. It's like a brass band, hip hop band from Philly. Awesome. Karina Reichman killed it. Both of her sets. I guess she played her set on the main stage. She's another one, by the way, that jumped up from a Grove set last year to a Peach set this year. Ripped it. Played with Marco also. And sat in with Melt over on the Grove, so that felt like some cool continuity there.
That's right.
Because I know they're all homies. You know, like Marlo from Melt played with Karina a lot over quarantine, and they did some cool stuff together. So seeing all that come together live was super cool.
That's cool.
The Bogey Band with Joe Russo. Did any of you catch that?
No. I'll be waiting for the Newport Folk Fest to catch the Bogey Band.
Try to catch that band if you can. It's like Jake was saying. It's something so different from everything else, but so cool. Like I walked over for maybe like 5 minutes of it, and I caught this one interlude where they had a dancer out directing the band like a conductor, but with her dance moves, and like her hips would go one way and they'd play a hit here, and her hips go one way, she'd play a hit there. So just like really cool
That's awesome.
Mix of stuff like that. So Bogey Band with Joe Russo, very cool. Pixie and the Party Grass Boys, another band that played 2 sets, super fun bluegrass party band. And all right, maybe one of my favorite sets of the festival, always the Nth Power. They had Jen Hartzog with them, as well as Shira came out, Eric Krasno came out.
Sorry, this is an Nth Power shirt. Sorry, it's on the back.
Greg just went crazy and started knocking shit over.
I love the Nth Power set. It says it on the back of my shirt. I'm sorry, I'm attached. I'm just gonna go ahead and mute myself again and think about this for a while.
It's always good, man. I was talking to the Eggy guys about it after, because they played right after them, and they were like, we were stoked about the Eggy set, but we were also like just as stoked about the Nth Power set right before it. It's like, wow, it cleanses your soul. That band is special.
They have such a special chemistry together, also, and Nate on the bass is just such a
fantastic,
such a special talent, man. So cool.
So, Greg and Joey, what about you? Anybody that we've missed on these lists so far?
You know what? There was actually one more that I wanted to say was that sort of tied it all together, was the Daniel Donato and Friends one. The end of the weekend, Sunday on the Mushroom Stage, the one Jake sat in on. You got so you played what? Fish, Back on the Train, into something else, back on the Train, right?
Yeah, I want to say it was one of his tunes.
Okay,
I don't know.
I got the name of it actually. Hold on, he sent me the name of it this morning. It is Waymore's Blues.
And is that one
not
of his?
familiar? I was planning to look it up. Let's check it out.
That sounds like it could be both cosmic and
Waylon
country.
Jennings, excuse me, Waylon Jennings. I think that's what he was saying.
It's Waylon Jennings.
In the beginning, he was like, you guys were nerding out over Fish and some country and pedal steel, and this felt like the merging of the two.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed, and I'm really afraid to move after just throwing my microphone across the room, but I really, really enjoyed Bruce's estranged brother, Chris Robinson, in the Black Crows.
Oh, Chris Robinson's back.
Yeah. Bruce, I'm surprised they haven't let you back in the band yet, but
there's a lot of tension.
and release. But there has been I think for a while, in my formative years when I used to wear a whole lot of pins in my hat, I thought that, like the Black Crows and like G Love were like the Sunday festival bands. And, I tended to kind of go home on Sundays a lot and recuperate. But, to really see how tight Chris Robinson was incredible. After all this time, and especially without Bruce in the band anymore, got to see G Love for a little bit, and I've been listening to G Love since the Philadelphonic days, and I just thought G Love was like the coolest dude, and so it was good to see. And I also want to music aside, I had a great time watching the No Simple Road podcast.
That's a fact checker right there.
Yeah. Our friends in No Simple Road, definitely from Osiris, crushed it. They interviewed a lot of cool artists in the lodge this year. Hopefully we can keep some of those live events going. We got a bunch of people to stop by for our live events where we interviewed Dogs in a Pile, the whole band. We interviewed members of Ripe. We interviewed Robbie from Ripe. Our members from Melt, we interviewed Robbie from Ripe. So we had a lot of good people in there, and it was a whole lot of fun. And anybody that was coming in to avoid the heat, or just take a break that was joining us was into it and having fun too. And it was just the whole weekend with people. But I do want to call out Ripe. Their set on the Mushroom Stage was absolutely sick. Robbie has an incredible voice, an incredible amount of energy, and the band behind him is really, really good. So people should definitely check them out. And then Doom Flamingo, I was most excited to see based on the fact that I just haven't seen them in 3 years and I've had opportunities and couldn't. And I really love their synthwave style and all the cool stuff that they can do. And they sounded like they've even come so far since the last time I saw them at Resonance in 2019. So they crushed on the Mushroom Stage also. And then maybe one of my favorite sets of the weekend, at least, is Dogs in a Pile. Also, I know we mentioned them before, but those young kids came and stepped up to the plate. And I mean, that's some of the stuff like exactly what you guys have done, Jake, with your big opportunities and just not letting any pressure get to you, just coming up and doing your thing and then doing it extraordinarily well in front of a lot of people. And that's one of the things that, with Peach fostering a community that wants to hear new music and wants to build up new bands, it's great to be able to capitalize on that when you have your opportunities at a festival like this. And I think Dogs in a Pile really took advantage of that Sunday daytime set and just went to town. So I was really happy for those kids. And, you know, you guys and Doom and Dogs brought a lot of people out to the Mushroom Stage this year. So that was great to see.
And that honorable shout out to that handstand at the Frasco set.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Also, did y'all? Speaking of the Frasco set, did you guys see the possum?
Yeah.
See the possum that sat in with Andy Frasco? It's Kenny
They
Rogers.
They had an actual animal possum.
An actual live possum. Yeah, it's
in a
my friend
stroller.
Kara's pet. Yeah, she was in a stroller. I'll find the picture. It's like a possum and a mascot, like stuffed eggplant from his music video that actually had Chris Bowers from the horn section inside of it. Fun fact.
Oh my gosh!
Just a ridiculous just circus befitting of a Frasco set at Peach. Once again,
somehow I'm like, how has he not had a possum at every live?
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm like,
It's
Yeah.
only the first time with the possum. Huh?
the final puzzle piece. Yeah. Damn. I mean, so like, again, like,
Oh my God!
the nth power. I love the nth power stuff. So, all right. We're gonna have to do some editing after this. So tremendous weekend, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. One of the biggest things that really makes me the most excited about all this is that it seems like live music and full-scale festivals are back. And I think that for a lot of acts on the bill, like, we're coming out of the pandemic, I hope, with a lot to look forward to. And one of those things is going down in August. And it is what Jake Brownstein perennially did for his birthday in November. We got a little something going on at Levon Helms Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Tell
August
the
5th.
people about it before I knock my mic over again.
We're going to be doing a show August 5th at Levon Helms Barn. We're doing a set of acoustic and then a set of electric. And we've got Brad Goodall Trio opening up, which he's been playing some of
someone brought out a possum. Yeah.
Oh my God. Joey's delay is now upwards of 10 to 15 minutes. But it's good that we did reiterate about the possum. But yeah.
Yeah. But we're super excited. I mean, that space is such a special just some of the most legendary nights have had to have happened there. And I wasn't fortunate enough to see Levon there, but I've seen Amy play there and I've seen Chris Thiele play there. And we're just so excited to be there and be able to be playing within those walls. It's going to be really cool.
And what's the date for that, Jake?
August 5th.
I mean, what's the billing? Because that's my favorite billing for any concert that I've seen in a minute.
What's that, Brad Goodall Trio?
No, the Midnight Scramble.
Oh, the Midnight Scramble.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to pay tribute to the Midnight Ramble.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be a lot of fun. There was one thing I wanted to get back to about Peach, though. I saw our buddy Oliver in the chat. I need to make sure that I call out Talk too. I mean, there were so many good acts, but I just have to call them out because I did want to mention that they've got some material with Karina, and they're going to be going on tour with them. So that's going to be so very cool to see. Kanika, Jesus Christ, Peach, scrambling my brain. And so did the Eggy set. But a lot of good things coming up on the schedule, especially that coming up in early August. Looking forward to the Midnight Scramble at Levon Helms Studios. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Not to compete with Daniel Donato's Afternoon Frittata.
Well, we don't want to cross. I don't want to cross Mr. Donato with a horse's head in your bed. You know, that would be rough. So
we're writing this. It's going to be a spinoff. We have a
Godfather ripoff. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah. That's for next episode. So I think, like, just to put a nice bow tie on this strange gift, there is so much to be excited about musically this year, and it's been just incredible to see all of this growth for all these bands that we care so much about. But beyond Levon Studio, Jake, is there anything else you can tell us about what Eggy is going to be doing this fall, or about maybe what came out recently?
Well, recently we did Nashville tapes. We did a 2-track tape release of some songs that we recorded when we took a day off in Nashville. But got a bunch of studio stuff that we've been working on here. Songs that we haven't played live, trying to have some of those songs see the light of day in the studio first. But fall tour, going to be hitting it hard, try to get out to as many places as we can and do some headlining stuff and really give people the full Eggy experience.
Oh, yeah. Any more festival stops coming up, Jake?
We're doing Workout Festival in a couple weeks.
All right. Legend Valley, right?
Yep, Legend Valley. We're doing Martha's Vineyard with Pigeons in September. We're doing Levitt with Twiddle in, I think, the end of this month, actually.
End of July, yep.
Yeah, so lots of cool stuff coming up, and just excited that we've got people paying attention and on the journey with us.
Absolutely. And then, Andrew, any other festival stops for you guys to Live for Live Music?
Oh, man. Well, someone just reminded me that Fish Tour starts in like a week and a half, which is terrifying, but also exciting.
Yeah, it's absolutely frightening. Yep.
And since that schedule came out, my position on it is there are way too many shows in driving distance. So I'll figure it out. I hope I don't overextend, which I always say and I never do. But maybe this is my year. And then the other big festival on my radar for the summer is Sacred Rose, the new event that Michael Berg and them are putting on in Chicago. It looks super awesome. If you haven't heard of it, check it out. Very cool, like varied. We got some indie stuff.
It's such a cool lineup.
Stuff. Yeah.
It's got like Punch Brothers to Hiatus Coyote to isn't Phil with Wilco?
Phil and Wilco.
Wilco?
Wilco. That's so cool.
So that'll be fun. And then we actually have Brooklyn Comes Alive in September. You guys will get a lineup for that next week. It's a good one.
Awesome.
I can't show you yet, but it's a good one.
Let me know if you need any PR.
I'm excited for North Beach Festival in Miami in December is another one I'm looking forward to.
Thank you, nice,
Judge.
I'm super excited for Sacred Rose.
Speaking of Michael Berg, also will be at Halloween, so that's gonna be a good one.
Okay,
Hulu looks fun this year too.
That's right. Yeah. That's Suwannee, man. And everybody, I've never heard a bad thing about Halloween. So hopefully I can get to one of these because Sacred Rose, I don't think I'm going to be able to. And like you said, Andrew, there's so much going on this summer and this fall and this whole year in general that it's just, there's just almost too many good things to pick from. So
isn't that a beautiful problem to have, Bruce?
It is. It is a wonderful first world problem to have, especially at this time. But yeah, we'll see what we can make it to because there's also a first world problem called no money in my bank account. So we'll see what happens.
It resonates. All right. Well, due to contractual obligations, although it's not a Goose podcast, we have to break down this Goose set. So I want to send off our guests without knocking my microphone over and say a huge, huge thank you to our first guest ever, second guest ever, third guest ever, Andrew O'Brien, first 3-time visitor of the Great Beyond podcast. Much love. Thank you for having us come and hang. And the one and only Jake Brownstein. Check out Broken Bluff, live from Nashville. Check out Levon Helm Studios, August 5th. Thank you, for joining us today and kind of dealing with us today. And we look forward to seeing you both soon.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Later.
See ya.
So don't hang up just yet. We're going to bring back the podcast heartthrob, the one and only best haircut in the game, Mr. Joey Parisi.
Yo.
What's up? Did you go? You upstairs?
Yeah. I got my Sopranos paintings behind me. Check that out.
Oh, I see Miss
yeah.
the elder Donato on the right. It's very good. Dude.
So how'd it go?
Well,
it was good.
It was all right. It was funny when you mentioned the possum thing at Andy Frasco 15 minutes after we talked about it. That was one of my favorite parts.
I heard that reaction. I was like, all right, I got to get out of here and move. And I had so many questions for Jake, too.
I think everybody knows we've had a tremendous amount of technical difficulties today, including our two guests and me.
Yes, and
rolled
me.
with the punches. Well,
Also.
especially Greg, but yeah.
Yes.
Thank
That's
God
fine.
I'm here, even though we're trying to get me off the podcast. Okay. Thank God.
Let's go State. All right. So
I don't think we've addressed the fact that Bruce had a podcast without us last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was.
Right, that's right.
Yeah,
Bruce
me and-
trying to go into free agency, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, I'm on, I'm looking at all my options, dude. My agent said it was the best move, I'm not, I'm definitely not attending pre-workouts or any camps this year until we work my contract out. But yeah, well, I got to do what I got to do for me. Like we were talking about with Andrew, I need to get to these shows. I need an extension. But anyway, we will get to that.
Nice.
There's a lot my agent says I cannot say. He's in the other room, so.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
And,
okay, Neil.
Jess, for helping him, you're now a sworn enemy of Greg and I.
Well, I didn't know that changes anything, but I'll keep that in mind. Just watch out, dude. I'm on my way to Mr. Donato's after this to talk to him about some work.
We're gonna join the Danbury Trashers. So, all right, we're gonna compliments of the chef. So we are going to talk about the Goose set now. I think Goose played at Peach too.
They did.
They did little late night after flying back from High Sierra Music Festival in California, IA. And I mean, these guys played Peach once in 2019. I'm sure most of the people listening have heard that they played at Peach in 2019. Good set, but they were back main stage late night. I believe there was a stream also. So those of you in the chat who had some favorite moments, let us know what you thought about the Goose set. And let's dig in to what we think here. So Joey, per usual, avoids Bruce and I in public settings and was up front in the pit.
Yeah, dude, third row Peter side. Thank you. Friends. Miles. Miles is a fucking homie.
You hooked up those super VIPs, right? You want to tell us that little story?
I mean, I don't know if that's privy to public information. I wouldn't want to blow it up, but he's got a friend, made a friend through his work, who's a big member of the scene. And he was able to hook us up with super VIPs and a lot of shows beyond too that we're really excited for. So that was really
there's
cool.
Some shows beyond that too.
That's I'm really.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about the shows beyond. Greg, did you hear about the shows beyond? Yeah. Oh, interesting. Very interesting.
It's the new name of the podcast, man.
Yes, because we're not a Goose podcast.
Joey's almost dead. So great. It was good to see you up there having a blast with your real friends.
With your friends.
So we started.
I'm sorry. Where were you guys? Like backstage, side stage? Yeah. Thanks for the invite.
We were.
I mean, dude, staff.
We weren't allowed.
We were lucky. We had to sneak to those places.
Actually, yeah.
It's not like Peach Security had any idea what was who was supposed to be back there.
Oh, they did. They did.
Maybe some did. Yeah.
No, okay.
And they know you two were not.
Right. They knew enough to say these two, regardless of bracelet, are not allowed here.
Great Beyond Podcast now hiring an HR manager. So, we got a good Goose set here, a nice little festival set. Despite what seemed like some technical difficulties getting stuff started, and we started a few minutes late, still got in a whole bunch of music. And, I think I can imagine, because I'm not a tech guy, as you can see, I can barely keep my microphone upright, that it's got to be a huge changeover, right? To go from Trey and all of the stuff that Trey does to Goose. There's just a lot to move, a lot to plug in. Plus, I hear that Trey just like ties all the cables into little knots as he finishes, which I can imagine makes it a challenge. So after changeover, things hit with Yeti.
Called it. I want to make that known.
You probably heard me. You probably heard me from the front.
That was coming.
Yeah.
But great way to open. Really, like they really like came out with a lot of energy. One other thing I will say was I had heard they a different sound system in the main pavilion this year as opposed to other years, and it was supposed to be an upgrade. And I do think sometimes it sounded good, but and I do think it had less almost even to do with the band's technical issues and a little bit more with that it was hard to kind of listen to get the details out of what Rick was doing, what the band was doing in the Yeti and Arrow. Was just too tough to make out what Trevor was doing. I could hear this stuff in my head, and I do know that the Yeti really ripped, and I do know that it was a big Arrow, but it was just too hard for us in the main Pav. I feel like in that we were about 20, 25 rows back from the Super VIP Joey Parisi, and it was just I don't know. I regretted going back farther to try to hear because I heard a lot of people in the back, further back had better and better sound. So, but I think good start, very energetic, which I always love to see out of the band, and especially after that huge 24-hour travel day out west and then 24-hour travel day back. I think that was impressive to see them come out with so much energy.
Yeah. And I was talking to Jeff too after the Dogs on a Pile said he was saying they had to rent like their entire back line out in High Sierra. So like,
yeah,
I don't know if that necessarily has anything to do with like their changeover and the troubles with that, but yeah, it was something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, three rows from the stage, it sounded great. People were talking about sound issues. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
No, it's good. I mean, I just think it was certain positions, and it just has to be, it has to deal with. There's a lot of kinks to work out with some of these very, expensive new kind of speakers and the whole system that they have there. And, I think certain things sound better than others. Certain things sounded better than others just during the show. So, that's a festival. They got a lot to deal with and a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. And like Greg said, you're right after Trey was a ton of equipment, ton of different equipment, and just trying to make that happen as fast as possible. Who knows? Any little thing could have disrupted what normally with them, their production is, I think, maybe so good and so consistent that it just was easier to hear and notice some of these, slight faults that don't normally happen.
Definitely. And maybe it's just your two geriatric co-hosts are starting to lose frequencies in certain parts of their ears.
The phone in there isn't vibrating as much anymore. So
quick little non sequitur we don't have to respond to based on our early conversation in case Joey's still on a delay. Amber Lantine, not one to ever stir the pot, saying that Joey literally ran from Bruce's Radio City.
No, I did not. They were about to come back on stage. I had to go up to the second balcony to my dad. I had my poster in my hand. I had to run up there and, I did run. Yeah. And it was away from Bruce, but it had nothing to do with him.
Well,
I mean, I've heard a likely story before. That sounds like a very likely story. So
next episode, Joey's dad's on to clear the air. So second song, second song, Arrow. Not the conventional or unconventional, depending on who you ask, Arrow with horns, but more of the standard live version. Arrow went deep.
Yeah. I want to know how long that was. I didn't look at the times yet.
Yeah.
Where's Jive Goose?
Where's Brian when we need him? Where's the where's the Goose podcasters when we need them?
Yeah, exactly. Someone's got to keep a track of this.
Yeah, but definitely was a big Arrow. Definitely was a big Arrow, and you could tell
29 minutes.
Sound issues. 29.
30,
wow.
yeah.
Ooh, damn.
That's what there's always that moment where it feels like this has to be at least 30 minutes. And then sometimes you go back and it's like, that was 14 minutes. And you're like, oh, geez. But yeah, that really went.
A lot of cool segments, a lot of cool darker segments that they did that I remember. And like Getty's lights were fabulous throughout this era. I do recall.
And everyone's talking about like Metal Rick. I heard a lot of like metal that Peter was driving, like the darker moments. I don't know if it was during that hour or Tumbled. Like both of those jams really stuck out as like darker moments. But I remember thinking, wow, Metal Peter is actually a thing now too.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's good that it's rubbing off because it just, again, it adds just all that much more variation to the directions that they go in on some of these songs like Arrow. That's always kind of a bigger jam, and how are you going to take that to new and interesting places all the time when you're giving it a good, 15, 20, 25 minutes of improv every time you play it. So it's cool that they're taking some of these moves in different directions, trying to get a little bit darker. That was something that Rick had talked about, specifically trying to do before this summer tour kind of got underway. So it's just cool to see that, and it's cool to see what they'll continue to bring to the table with that. I mean, and then Magic Carpet Ride, great reprieve after all that jam, like a hot Yeti into a very long, epic arrow, and then a really fun way to get the crowd, kind of snap the crowd back into it and get everybody back dancing and singing was Magic Carpet Ride. I love, and I think that was the best one I've heard them play. Yeah, I know they've only covered a couple times, but
yeah, Magic Carpet Ride, a Steppenwolf cover, not Steppen. Stepping. So fourth play live.
Steppenwolf.
A Stepping Wolf cover. The fourth time played. First one, Palladium Worcester. Second one, Mission Ballroom Denver. Third, Brooklyn Bowl Nashville. Fourth, Firefly Distillery. So, of course, it's the fifth time.
It's the fifth.
At age 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, definitely was good. That kind of standard version that they played at Halloween, where they go into a very distinct jam, but definitely high energy. People were really stoked. Hands were in the air without being prompted. And then next up, a short and sweet Animal.
Short and sweet. I think people are, itching, even though I think this was the third time they played an Animal, but people are itching for to get back to what they did in Legend Valley with that Animal. I mean, that was like, they'll do that again. I think part of it, they ran into some time constraints at Radio City. And this song is just a really cool song. So even if you get it for like 6 to 8 minutes, it's awesome. It's sweet. And just filling it in, again, it's like sometimes you got to flow with how the set's going, and with that huge arrow and a pretty big Magic Carpet Ride. They did some cool stuff in the jam for that. Again, Animal is just another cool reprieve between the songs, but it keeps people dancing. And it just keeps the cool vibe that they had going at that Peach Fest set rolling too. So, But yeah, short Animal. I am also anticipating hearing another big one of these shows, and it's going to be sweet. So,
yes.
Yeah, you mentioned the dancing too, Bruce. Like, I was kind of worried that it was getting late. I was getting tired. Like, is there going to be a time where I sit down and all of a sudden I just run out of energy? But there was not a single moment where I felt like, oh, I need to sit down. Like, this is a good moment for me to sit down and rest. Like, I was up the entire time, which is like, we talk about that Bonnaroo set. How was that? That was like a perfect late night set. I thought this was even better.
Yeah.
I mean, that says a lot, because Joey's bedtime is normally about 11:45. So,
I fell asleep during multiple sets this weekend. I won't say who, but yeah.
The Great Beyond's 12 o'clock set. Animal, though, was super tight. It was really good. Unfortunately, crisis struck me during Animal. Took a quick stroll to the bathrooms, and I lost what can only be described as the Chill Cup. The Chill Cup is a blue tumbler purchased at the exclusive TJ Maxx in Wallingford, Connecticut.
Maxinista.
Limited edition.
Plug Marshalls, go through the day. So, got this tumbler. You could keep water cold for 30 hours in any condition, or hot for 24.
Nice.
And it will be keeping no water or liquids for me ever again. The Chill Cup was adorned with a sticker of seminal guitarist Jerry Garcia, as well as a Goose sticker, a sticker from a band called What, who I've met before. But yeah, the Chill Cup, I mean, obviously, like Oliver says, shout out to the OG Don of the Mushroom Stage, Oliver Burkett. I was like flossing that Chill Cup hard. So I hope it's, hope it's in safe hands. I didn't feel good about going to Lost and Found and asking them if they had seen a blue cup with a Jerry sticker on it.
They got jacked. That cup got jacked. And Greg comes back finally back to the show in crisis mode, asking where the tumbler went, saying the tumbler is gone. And then after the show, we all, worked very hard to investigate the scene of the crime, and it was nowhere to be found.
That's right.
Our friend Sarah, I don't know if she's still Greg's friend.
Our
she was
friend.
deceptive this weekend.
Yeah.
Tricked me and Greg numerous times. So I don't know how I feel about that, but I am just also easily tricked.
Me as well, apparently.
Yeah. So it is what it is. But anyway, next up on the set list.
I'm not done yet. I'm not.
If found, call.
I am offering a bounty for the chill cup.
Reward.
Yeah, that chill cup. I will give my only V1 given to me by Pete Russo, good friend of the podcast. My only V1 Goose pin that I have. It's available for the person that finds my chill cup and returns it.
Or buys a replica and just gives it to you.
Oh, the stickers, though. There's stickers.
No. You can't find those stickers anywhere. Yeah.
Can't be found.
Yeah. And yes, Sarah certainly did. Sarah did tell me a few times that she found it, and she didn't. It was mean. If I can quote former President George W. Bush, there's an old saying in Tennessee. I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me." You can't get fooled again. And that rings true. I was fooled multiple times. So somebody out there better be staying hydrated. So anyway, tumble. Which it was a tumbler. Haha, segue.
Oh, very good. We finally got back to the set list.
I don't remember.
So, Joey, what did you think, dude, about the tumble?
I mean, tumble is as soon as they go into it, you know, it's going to be like a huge jam. And especially after that arrow, it's like, okay, here we go again. You know, I don't necessarily remember what happened or specifics. I remember I had an amazing time, and good friend of the podcast, Sarah Elias, said that was like, she's new to Goose. That was her like favorite song of the set. So it's reaching people, and I appreciate that. And people were up, and it's just positivity all around. So got to appreciate it.
Very good analysis, Joey.
There we go.
Tumble. I like that a lot. Greg, anything to add?
No. I was at the first aid tent. I was there. Turns out they didn't know. They do not offer counseling for loss, so it's all right. After grieving, I made my way back to the pavilion, absolutely parched for state of the art AEIOU, a cover by the one and only Yim Yames.
Yeah, and I love that. That's really one of my favorite covers of theirs. Just like Fish in the Sea. It's just and even like Nights in White Satin, which I think was still executed perfectly at Westville last year when they did it, timed and executed perfectly. But those three songs kind of have a similar vibe in my mind, even though Fish in the Sea a little more dancey, but those songs have this really cool, epic, ambient kind of rock feel to them. And I love the lights in State of the Art, and I just love the song in general. So one of my favorite covers of theirs. And I don't think I always like hearing that in any show. But I really also always like hearing Factory Fiction, obviously a fan favorite and something that tends to be hard to come by. And I thought was pretty unexpected in that spot.
Definitely. I don't mind a Factory Fiction.
Sometimes.
No, great. I mean, I was actually surprised too. You know, I think as we say, Factory has certainly taken on a legendary kind of status within the gaggle. But you know, it was certainly a Factory Fiction. I believe last time played was Philly, of course. Just correct me if I'm wrong. But that Philly Factory was like, gosh.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the best, including that Mission one too from last year. Those are two of the best that I've ever heard. Easily.
Difficult to top. It was difficult to top. But Joey, how was Factory from your seats?
Yeah, there were a lot of people as soon as you heard Rick going those low notes, a lot of people yelling and just guttural noises being screamed at the stage of how excited they were. It seems to be like a tour closer now because Mission was a tour closer. Philly was a tour closer.
Right.
This was like one closer.
Kind of right, yeah.
Even though they had one song after it, they got the extra time. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Peach Fest Arcadia. Like that's the quintessential version of that song that I hold every version of. Like the Bingo Tour Factory Fiction is like the one I hold it up to. And I mean, it was really cool that like for a special crowd, the Peach Fest crowd, you know, they owe them some love. Like they held up to it, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then close out the set with Dripfield.
Yeah, because like Joey mentioned, they got some extra time. Obviously, they started almost 30 minutes late because of some technical issues. And so Peach was willing to give them 30 extra minutes, and they got to play till just almost 3. I don't think they pushed it all the way till 3. But yeah, they added in a Dripfield, another surprise, because I definitely kind of, you know, festivals sometimes are pretty strict, at least with how they end these sets, which makes sense because you got a lot of staff involved and you know, you just want to stick to those times as much as possible. But it was really nice of them to give the guys, you know, some more time to make up for that. And they took advantage. Dripfield, obviously, you know, I think one of the fan favorite news songs that they've come out with in the last year. So, and it always hits really hard. And an epic way to kind of close out a set with that had a lot of big songs and a lot of fan favorites in it. So really, I mean, you know, I think, again, with these guys, they're going to do the best they can every single time out. You can always guarantee that. And I think regardless of any issues that some people might have had with sound, I think they really went out and ripped this set and, you know, gave fans what they wanted out of a late night, especially after a tough weekend, you know, and a huge weekend last weekend. So I really think the guys have done a lot of, you know, I think they threw a lot of touchdowns lately. I said sometimes it's hard to get it in the end line over the end zone, but you know, I think again, great tour overall. And I just think that that's a lot that they can take away, you know, and I think they have a lot of big things coming up towards the end of the summer and this fall. So, you know, it's just onward and upward with these guys, and they continue to grow and continue to play bigger stages. And I'm really looking forward to some of that.
So I have something I want to discuss with you two. Maybe controversial. I cannot wait to be taken out of context here. But first, let's close it out by saying Goose is off for a couple weeks. Next show will be at the Newport Folk Festival, doing a day set and then an evening set at a blues club, 400-person capacity. For those of you who stuck with us the whole time, the Bogey Band is not playing at Newport Folk Festival. It was a joke about cigs. But
yeah, nobody
smokes cigs anymore. All right,
it was bad. I mean, it wasn't the best joke you've ever told. No.
Okay. Well, I thought it was pretty good.
So I didn't get it. So
well, you were delayed, Joey.
Yeah,
I mean,
Joey,
that's true.
You missed the timing on it.
About 20 minutes for you. So, all right. Here's what I think, and I invite the comment section to rage or agree. So, I was stoked to see Goose return to Peach Festival, and I think that they played a fantastic set. I thought that expectations were super high, and I was kind of worried about how they would perform after that legendary 2019 set, right? It's like hard. It's hard to top that set because of the legendary sets it's taken on in our little microcosm of the music industry. So Bruce and I were watching the Dogs in a Pile set. We could not get to Joey because he was so far up in the front row with all his friends.
They call it Super VIP.
Super VIP. Yeah.
You don't know about. We
were on the stage for a bit, Joey, but we didn't let you know. But anyway, so
I also got the VIP set at 1 too, so you know, no big deal.
Cool flex. It's okay.
Got a shout out during that. I personally got a shout out during that set too. So suck it.
We were in the study hall, actually. We were in the study hall working on our stuff. But we got there for the 3 p.m. set. And I think Dogs in a Pile played out of their minds. Every single member of the band was killing it. Shout out to Brian Murray on guitar, who had a broken foot.
Yeah.
And ripped that set.
And standing up.
Standing up.
Yeah, you know who couldn't do that?
Hey, we don't need to say any names. But
and not only just a broken foot, he broke the foot the day before. At the beach, So
running to see Solis.
He woke up like 18 hours later and played a VIP set, and then 2 hours later had to play. I mean, I know I'm going to let you continue. I'm going to let you keep going, right? But Taylor Swift, but Beyonce. But so honestly, dude, like you were saying, one of the most epic sets. Came out and played one of the most epic sets I saw a weekend, and just something that absolutely blew me away, regardless of what else I saw this week.
Yeah, man.
So what I want to say, I think that if you listen to the Dogs in a Pile catalog and you listen to that Peach set, that 3 p.m. set, in the context of everything Dogs in a Pile has played, and you listen to that 2019 Goose set, that's legendary now. I think from a musical perspective, in terms of how tight it was and on point, I am prepared to say that Dogs in a Pile set, musically, based on Dogs in a Pile's existing catalog, was a better set than the Goose's 2019 set at the Grove stage. And Dog's set was only 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, Greg and I talked about this, and I actually at the festival, and I agreed. I mean, it depends on how you're going to be looking at this, and it depends on what you think about musically, or what that means when it comes to pan out to what the output from the band was. But they had the most people on Sunday at 3 p.m. at the Mushroom Stage, and I saw at the Mushroom Stage for any of the acts I saw at the Mushroom Stage the entire weekend. And it was probably about as many people, I was talking to some of those kids after, as were at the Goose set that they played. That I believe it was was it a Friday or Saturday at like 2 p.m. on the Grove? Saturday at 2 p.m. And like, so, I do think that, regardless of obviously which is better musically, they both, I think, are going to have a similar impact. And I mean, I kind of would expect it because, again, I arguably thought that Dog set was the best I saw all weekend. So
yeah, just throwing it out there. Okay, it doesn't mean that again, music's not sports. And frankly, like, there were plenty of other shows in 2019 that Goose played that I think topped their set at Peach. The only person that I will throw this comment up for right here, which I don't holistically agree with, it's a little bit strong. I'm not even going to read it out loud. But I think that set, that Dog set, based on what I've heard from them in the past couple of years and the way they showed up for that, and considering the playing field was leveled through injury, we got a really, really, really good set. I like that our listeners are dropping. Post this in the Dog Pound. But I invite some discourse on this because I do think that the most exciting part about all of this is that bands that we know and love can come through the Peach Festival and show up and just really make their impressions felt.
Yeah. And if you didn't catch the Peach Fest set, they're doing a golf outing on Sunday out in New Jersey. Also Garcia's, I think in August they're playing. They got a bunch of shows, Fish after parties. The guys are awesome. They're such nice guys too. And I thought their Peach Fest set was like exactly what I wanted out of them. I got to see them, more than a couple times before that. Like their Caps show too. Like it was the same thing where you could tell being on the main stage at the Cap was like a huge deal for them, considering how many times they played Garcia's, and they finally got to get up there and they're local guys. And to be at Peach, same thing. Like you could see on their faces, you could feel the energy from the stage and the crowd. Like this is a huge deal for them, and like that just makes it a bigger deal for us as an audience too. So yeah, I'm so excited to see where these guys go in the future.
You heard it here, you heard it here first, folks. It's a Dogs in a Pile podcast.
Oh, 100%, man.
Finally found our band.
Yes.
Hashtag Sam's Club.
All right. Well, anyway, obviously, obviously, we're out here. We always want to support any bands, and
Our listeners
really
are
any bands that are
dropping.
out on the grind. But yeah, Peach Fest was great, and it's like we had talked about a lot throughout this podcast. Always great to see new and upcoming bands and bands that are diverse and play different types of music beyond just what a lot of people expect from the jam scene. So it was definitely a great weekend, man, and looking forward to a lot of great music that's coming up this summer as well.
Yeah, and now that everyone has dropped, be sure to visit Sunset Lake CBD.
And
Yes.
we still support CBD. So
we all need some Lake CBD oil. I mean, literally, I need to apply Sunset Lake CBD all over my body after all of the movement this weekend. That's not how it normally works, which is probably why it hasn't. Never mind. So
right,
we're back.
Let's wrap
it up. We're going to be back live. We're live after the Newport Folk Fest. We'll have a studio episode come out at some point, and we'll be out. We'll be out there.
Be in touch on socials, y'all.
Yeah. Hit us up on socials. Tell me I'm wrong. Oh, big shout out to Ari Fink. Not gonna lie, Ari, you are suspect number 1 in the missing tumbler
the mystery
equation. But we'll talk about that the next episode. Thank you, Nick, for letting us wrap it up. We love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Drink water and
be kind.
Yeah, be kind.
We'll
see you guys soon.
Later.
Thanks, all.
Down the pathway to the great beyond.
Osiris.